Let me ask you something. How many times do you say very in English? Very tired, very big, very small, very good, very happy. If you use very all the time, don't worry. Almost everyone does. But here's the problem. If you want to sound more fluent and more natural in English, you need stronger vocabulary. Today, I'm going to show you powerful words you can use instead of very. Words that will instantly make your English sound more advanced. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. It's nice to be with you again. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm Rita, and today we're going to talk about the word very. Let's talk about why the word very is somewhat weak. Very is not wrong to say. In fact, it is correct, but it's a little bit weak. What does that mean? Well, native speakers often replace very plus an adjective with one strong word. For example, so instead of saying I'm very tired, we say I'm exhausted. So you see, it sounds stronger and it sounds more natural and more fluent. So what we want to do is we want to upgrade your vocabulary. We want you to sound like a native. So I'm going to give you some examples of how we're going to change the word very into a different word. Let's go to number one. Number one, a lot of times English learners say, I'm very tired, which means I am very, very tired. But instead of using very here, we're going to use exhausted. Exhausted. Very tired can mean exhausted. Here's an example. I worked all day and I am exhausted. So we don't want to say I'm very tired. Try saying it with I'm exhausted. Let's go to number two. Very big. Very big. Instead of saying very big, let's try to use huge or enormous. So huge and enormous mean the same thing. They both mean very big. You can use either one of them in your vocabulary. So instead of saying that house is very big, you can say that house is huge or that house is enormous. So both of them mean the same thing, and you can use both. Try to use both in your sentences, huge and enormous. Here's another example. The mall is enormous. Enormous. Remember, enormous and huge mean very big. Okay, let's go to number three. Very small. Very small. Instead of use very small, let's use tiny. Tiny. Instead of saying that dog is very small, try to say that dog is tiny. That means that dog is very small. So you see, we're just replacing the very small and using a whole different word, but it means the same thing. Here's another example. My apartment is tiny. My apartment is tiny. So it's short, but it's naturally strong, and it is going to make your vocabulary grow. All right, number four, very good. I hear this all the time from my students, and very good is very good, but let's use a different word for it. In fact, I've got two different words that you can use instead of very good. Excellent or amazing. Excellent, amazing. So here's an example. Instead of the food is very good, I want you to try to say the food is excellent or the food is amazing. Another example, that movie was amazing. That movie was excellent. So you see, this sounds much more fluent, and your vocabulary isn't just limited to very. All right, let's go to number five, very bad. So this is the same as very good, but very bad. I hear it again all the time from my students. Instead of use very bad, let's use terrible or awful. Terrible, awful. So here's an example. Instead of saying, that movie was very bad, I want you to say, that movie was terrible, or that movie was awful. Another example, the weather is terrible today, or the weather is awful today. Number 6, very happy. Very happy. Instead of using very happy, let's use thrilled or delighted. Now, these two words can be a little bit difficult to pronounce. You might need to work on them to get your pronunciation where it needs to be, but these are two really good words to use instead of very happy. Thrilled, delighted. So let's use this in a sentence. Instead of saying, I'm very happy, I want you to say, I'm thrilled or I'm delighted. Here's another example. I'm thrilled about my new job. I'm thrilled about my new job. So you see, it sounds more natural and expressive. Number 7, very sad. Very sad. Instead of saying very sad, I want you to use heartbroken or devastated. Heartbroken, devastated. Here's an example. So instead of saying she was very sad, I want you to say she was heartbroken or she was devastated. Here's another example. He was devastated after losing the football game. So these are two really good words to describe being very sad, where you don't have to use very sad. Devastated. I was devastated when I heard the bad news. Number 8, very hungry. Very hungry. Instead of using very hungry, I want you to try to use the word starving. Starving. So using it in a sentence, instead of saying, I'm very hungry, I want you to say, I'm starving. Native speakers say this all the time. All the time. I'm starving. That means I'm very hungry. I need food now. Another example, I haven't eaten all day and I'm starving. Number 9, very cold. Very cold. Instead of saying very cold, I want you to try to use the word freezing. Freezing. So instead of saying it's very cold, you can say it's freezing. It's freezing. So an example, it's freezing outside. Now, we have to be careful with this because it can also mean it's freezing outside, that it's getting frozen outside. But if it's also very, very cold, we also use it's freezing outside. But remember, it can mean two different things. So be careful how you use it in a sentence. Number 10, very hot. Very hot. So instead of using very hot, I want you to try to use the word boiling. Boiling. So instead of saying it's very hot outside, you can say it's boiling outside. It's boiling outside, or it's boiling today. So let's talk about why this makes you sound fluent. Because when you replace very plus an adjective with one strong word, your English sounds more natural and more confident and more advanced. And here's something important. Native speakers rarely say very in everyday conversation. They choose stronger words. Okay, let's do a quick test. Let's practice together and see if you learned today. I'm going to say the weak sentence and you say the strong version. Ready? Let's go. I'm very tired. I'm very tired. What would I use instead of very tired? Good job. Exhausted. Exhausted. I'm exhausted. Next one. Very big. Very big. What would you use instead of very big? Huge. Very hungry. Very hungry. What would you use instead of very hungry? Starving. Very cold. Very cold. What would you use instead of very cold? Freezing. Freezing. Let's do one more. Very good. Very good. What would you use instead of very good? Excellent or amazing. Good job. I want to give you one important warning. Just be careful because not every adjective has a stronger replacement, and sometimes very is completely fine. The goal here is not to eliminate very, but the goal is to expand your vocabulary and for you to sound like more of a native speaker. So let me give you one final tip. Start by replacing just 1 or 2 words per week. For example, this week, stop saying very tired and instead start saying exhausted. Small changes make a big difference over time. So today you learned the following. Very tired means exhausted. Very big means huge. Very small means tiny. Very good means excellent. Very bad, terrible. Very happy, thrilled. Very sad, devastated. Very hungry, starving. Very cold, freezing, and very hot, boiling. So stop saying very all the time, guys. Upgrade your English and you're going to sound like a native speaker. Now tell me in the comments, which word do you use the most? Do you use very tired, very good? And which new word will you start using today? If you want to sound more fluent in English, subscribe to my channel for more lessons every week. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.